Welcome, everybody. This is the culminating segment of IAC's 3-day virtual conference on gold and diamonds called New Realities, Future Promise. And for those of you that are just joining for this really wonderful moment, thrilled to have you with us. Should you wish to see anything that happened over the past 3 days, it is all archived and readily accessible. Should be ready for viewing tomorrow or the day after. So it's simply register in the same way with your email address as you would have prospectively, and all of it will be available to you. For those of you that have already registered and want to go back, you simply return to your registration link. Now, well, I guess I should say,
Lisa,
yes.
It's Ronnie. I'm sorry to interrupt. Your beginning voice and your voice are meshing together. Can you hear yourself?
Hugo, do you know about that? I think that's
Apologies.
okay. So we're going to go back to the purpose at hand. And I guess first off, I should say that I'm Lisa Koenigsberg, and I founded Initiatives in Art and Culture. And this project, or that has now become Talk About Evolution and Development, both a monthly webinar offering as well as a major annual conference. And 4 years ago, we gave our first award for leadership in responsible practice in jewelry. And I'm honored to say that the recipient was Toby Pomeroy, and one of our past recipients is with us, and that is Feriel Zerouki from De Beers. She received the second award. Now, we're here today, or at this moment, to present something new that has been very dear to my heart as something that was important for us to launch. And it is an award for extraordinary contributions. In this instance, it's to the diamond and jewelry industries. And it's being presented to Edward Asscher, who is the first person to serve as president of the World Diamond Council twice. The idea behind the award is a belief in collaboration, community, and commitment. And it's intended to recognize and honor extraordinary ongoing engagement and dedication to the realization of positive change. What the conversation that's about to ensue is absolutely reflective of that and of some remarks that Edward made, which you will hear after. And I'm delighted to welcome David Bouffard of Signet, who is also chairman of the Responsible Jewelry Council. Then with the wondrous logo behind him, Edward Asscher of the World Diamond Council, beloved person. To my right, two extraordinary people in one screen, Feriel Zerouki from De Beers, who is also vice president of the World Diamond Council, and as Jack Ogden used to say to me in letters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And next to her, Iris van der Veken, executive director of the Responsible Jewelry Council, who delivered keynote remarks and who just moderated the panel on Botswana. Next to her, Ronnie Vanderlinden of IDMA, WDC, the whole alphabet, but one of the things, and Diamex, but what I would say is that Ronnie is the energy that holds all of the constellation aloft. He is an amazing human being, and his love should be an inspiration to absolutely every one of us. And to his right, as I'm looking at it, Lita Asscher. And Lita is someone I've had the pleasure of knowing for several years. And she is now the co-head of Royal Asscher. Her father having stepped, you might say, more fully into this World Diamond Council role. And she is a formidable leader as well, particularly where it comes to issues pertaining to gender and equity. And so it's quite a group, all of whom have come, in effect, to engage in this. Oh, my heavens to Betsy, forgive me. Shamiso, you are out of my screen. That was unforgivable, but please try to. And Shamiso Mtisi, who is both the head of research for the Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association. He is also head of the Kimberley Process Civil Society, and as such engages in conversation with certainly Edward and others in this group, seeking to find a shared way forward. And I'm delighted that Edward wanted you to be a central part of the conversation. Now, what we are going to do is we have 3 questions. I'm going to ask Edward the question, and then we're going to see who else would like to chime in before we move on to the second and third. This is meant to be spontaneous and what you think. And then we'll move on to the presentation. So, and I would like to say, just as a personal note, how inspiring Edward's twin commitments to both civic engagement and engagement in the diamond world. To me, I see it as beyond industry, almost galactic, but those twin engagements and commitments and the distinction of his accomplishments in both realms are, to me, very personally inspiring. So, Edward, you have used the compelling phrase, "leave no one behind." To whom are you referring in each tier or sector of the value chain?
Lisa, thank you. Thank you for this highly exaggerated introduction. And it is an honor to be here and to see you all, and an honor for those that we cannot see. And let me start by saying, the first time when I heard about the award, it was still called for a lifetime achievement. And my reaction was, I cannot accept that, because I'm still in the middle of it. And intend to continue for some time, whether they like it or not. Let me get back to your question. Leave no one behind. I think that's a matter of principle, and it goes for every sector of our industry. But it has, if you look at the producing countries, leave no one behind means also the small miners, the alluvial diggers. The small people in the rough side could be traders, dealers, diggers. If you go to the manufacturing side, it is for you look at the small and medium enterprises. We have make the impression sometimes that's all about big business, like De Beers and Signet and others. There's many others who are either member of the WDC and many more of the IJC. But the diamond industry consists out of tens of thousands of individuals and small and medium-sized companies. And we do it for everybody. And that's something that I find important. We do that also for Chow Tai Fook or Signet or huge retail operations, but also for the pop and mom shop and for the small chains. Leave no one behind means exactly that we try to offer a future of responsible sourcing in the diamond industry for everybody. And that's the basis of what we do. We do not always succeed, but we keep trying. Let me say, I'm especially happy that Shamiso and Mitsui is here because we have gone a long way, Shamiso, and basically we agree on most things, most, not all. And we went through quite something 2 weeks ago with the intersessional KP, and I'm glad to see you here. And you live in Zimbabwe, which is not always easy to communicate and to live there, but I very much appreciate that you join us. So that is, leave no one behind is literally, it's not only for us, it is for everybody in the diamond industry.
I'm going to ask one other person this question. I wonder, Feriel, as the person who will next fill these shoes, if you will, what your thoughts on that notion are.
You know, thank you, Lisa. And first of all, let me just start by saying hello to everyone. From my screen, I can see Shamiso. Hi, Shamiso. Ronnie, David, Lita, and of course, Iris, and Edward, our man of honor. I have to say that this notion of leave no one behind is something that we've always been working on. It's a difficult balance. And Edward is especially always talking about this and really thinking through it as we provide him as our leader in the World Diamond Council with different ideas of what we can do to raise industry standards. The importance is that people are people, and people walk away from what they believe is inaccessible, issues that they don't understand, right? And we have many different people from such diverse backgrounds and diverse levels of education across our entire diamond jewelry supply chain. But this is a challenge that we must overcome. And Edward, under his leadership, has really looked to challenge us with how do we raise industry standards, but make it accessible, not just for the big players, but also for the smaller players. And the smaller players are not just the artisanal mining sector, hey? It's the informal cutting and polishing sector. And it's also our, as Edward said, the mom and pop stores in many different countries in the US and China and so on and so forth. So we must work together as an industry and unite. We can compete on other things, as Edward always tells me. We must unite on this front, bring everyone along and not leave anyone behind. One thing that Edward always stands for, and one area that he always challenges me on, is if one of our people is doing something wrong, what do we do about it? It is our role to raise our hand and do something about it. And that's something that I really respect you for, Edward. And I'm glad to be here today supporting you. And I love the way that you challenge me most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time, I will say. I enjoy our debates and I enjoy our conversations. And it's been a pleasure working with you throughout these years. And I know we're going to make a change, especially with the new system of warranties. And Edward pays very special attention to that, Lisa.
That's my next question.
I will get to that, but just to make sure that it's accessible in order to not leave anyone behind. And I'm going to stop it there.
Lisa, let me add one example. We have here David, Bouffard and Iris from the Responsible Jewellery Council. And one of the things I mean is if we talk with the IJC about sustainable development goals, for instance, what does that mean to the small individual dealer who's trying to make a living for his family? That's don't leave anyone behind. Because what we do is abstract. Sometimes we try to translate it into small pieces that are digestible. But I know many people who struggle making a living in the business. And we still have to explain that what we do and what we talk about is understandable and doable and practical for all those people who trying to make a living. That's leave no one behind.
So the second question that we have is the KP system of warranties has been put in effect. But beyond that, which parties must be brought to the table and what measures are critical to truly transform the diamond industry and to truly effectuate change?
You know, I understand from your introduction that I can pass on the question.
Yes.
Who would know this better than Shamiso himself when you talk about the KP? So what is the next step in what should be done, Shamiso, you think in the next step to the KP, which we are trying to do together?
Yeah, thanks, Edward. But firstly, let me congratulate you for receiving the award. Keep working hard, and keep working as you have always done. We hope, as with your leadership at WDC and broadly the diamond industry, including members and non-members of WDC, we will all work together towards supporting the cause that you are advancing. And as you said earlier on, we have worked together with WDC over the past 4 or so years, especially with my leadership of the civil society coalition, and we share common aspirations, a common vision on certain issues, but obviously, as you indicated, there are certain issues that we may not see or view from the same point of, from the same vantage point. But the key thing I can respond to in terms of the system of warranties and what can be done within the Kimberley process. Definitely in terms of looking at the revised system of warranties, it's quite important that WDC, under your leadership, looks at the implementation bit, how to make sure that the revised system of warranties is implementable. And the second aspect or challenge for the WDC definitely is setting an example for the small players that you mentioned, the medium players. You mentioned that there are lots of small players. There are diggers, there are dealers, there are artisanal miners, and so forth and so on. So WDC setting an example of how to do it best in terms of adopting and implementing responsible sourcing measures in the diamond industry or in the diamond sector will be quite key. And I think this is the challenge for the Kimberley process. One, in terms of making sure that those principles on responsible sourcing are adopted and not watered down in a sense. It's quite important that they are strong, they are really very specific, and can deliver value for the diamond industry and also for the communities that some of us represent. It's quite important. Then the issue of definition, obviously, which has been very contentious within the Kimberley process, should also be part of your radar in terms of what's supposed to be delivered within the Kimberley process. And definitely expanding the meaning of conflict diamond to include situations of violence, issues to do with responsible sourcing, issues to do with protection of the rights of workers, and also the rights of local communities. All those are part of the equation. They are part of the puzzle. So for us as the KP Civil Society Coalition, we've always worked together with WDC, trying to come to a common understanding of issues that we all believe in. And I think this has been manifest in the past years, although we face a lot of resistance from other participants who may not view it from the same point of view. So I think this is something that is quite important in terms of the award, that it will push you to do more and invest more time again to persuade those participants who may be doubting or who may not be very clear on the intentions in terms of expanding and making sure that diamonds can deliver value for local communities, and that diamonds can deliver value even for the diamond industry itself, because if it doesn't reform, then the millennial and new consumers will reject rough diamonds. So I think it's quite important to look at it from that perspective. So I'll stop there for now.
You are writing the whole program for Feriel for the next 2 years already. But you just mentioned...
One thing at a time, Shamiso, one thing at a time. But we're aligned.
What you mentioned was exactly what I had in mind. Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Shamiso.
So our third question is, what do you hope to accomplish in your second term as president of the World Diamond Council?
Most of it, Shamiso just mentioned. That's what we are working on. And as you know, I always say this is not my success, it is teamwork. And the team that I can see here is David, Bouffard, and Iris, and our incoming president, Feriel, and Ronnie, our treasurer and my best friend, and Shamiso, and my daughter, Lita. It is teamwork, but it goes, such an award goes to organization, it's not an individual, because you can't contribute alone. It is the World Diamond Council, it is the RJC, it is the CIPJO, it is the World Federation of Diamond Bourses, it is the IDMA, and it is the Civil Society Coalition, because together we have to do the work. What are we going to accomplish next? Shamiso made the list already. There is very little I can add to that, because it is about the small and medium-sized companies, and it is that we continue to build on the basis of the KP. We, as the World Diamond Council, will continue on the definition. There's no doubt about that. But we will build on the basis and the fundaments of the KP, and the system of warranties is an important integral part of that, but we will build even on that further in the next 1 year that I have, 2 years for Feriel, and who knows. And that's what I intend to do. So I appreciate the award, but I accept it on behalf of the whole team, our teams that are represented here today. Thank you.
Hugo, could I ask you to do a screen share, please? So one of the things I want to say is that actually hammering out the name and the intent of this was a very rewarding process, because it made me realize that Edward is the embodiment of exactly what it is I think we should recognize, and that I would like to strive to be. So this award is for extraordinary contributions to the diamond and jewelry industries. and it's presented to Edward U. And there is an inscription or a quote, which is one of my very favorites. And of course, I ran it by you to make sure, but I think it's extremely fitting. It's a Chicago architect called Daniel Burnham, who oversaw the White City and was really top of the architectural profession. And he wrote the following. This is an abbreviation. Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Aim high in hope and work. Let your watchword be order and your beacon beauty. Think big. It's an absolute honor to present you and everyone with whom you wish to share this with this award for collective effort and collective contributions toward engendering change and toward being the comma in the compound sentence. We know this is a point along the way. It's not meant to mark an end, but it is to say, bravo, fantastic. And it's really important some days to, if you will, be able to pick up one's head from the process and to see the road traveled. It doesn't mean one doesn't get right back to it, but this is your moment.
Well, let me say on that, thank you very much. It is quite an honor. And I see on the left a award committee, which has cooked up this conspiracy, as I called it. But you know, this is something that came to me so totally unexpected, but I will accept it on behalf, as I said, for my colleagues. And it is very much appreciated. And you, Lisa, thank you very much for doing this. I got a feeling when I heard you talking about me, I said to myself, hey guys, I'm still alive. Be careful what you say.
That's why I say it's the comma.
You usually, your family hears afterwards. But Lita is here to be witness of it. I'm still there. I'm still around, and hopefully I'll stay around for a little bit more time to contribute to the diamond industry. So thanks a lot.
Can I add to that, Lisa? I wanted to thank you very much because extraordinary is absolute the right word when it's about my father. And I think he deserves this more than anybody in the world. And even though he is absolutely a team player, he is a leader and he's an example for not only me and Mike and our whole family, but for the whole industry. So I really appreciate you organizing this award, and I think that there's nobody more better to honor than him, but I might be a little judgmental when it comes to that. So no, thank you very much.
Not at all.
You're not, Lisa. Yeah. Lita, you know, I wanted to intervene as well just before you intervened because you are his daughter and you're absolutely biased, but you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I met Edward, I think it was 2014, properly, Edward. I'd heard of you, I'd heard of the family, and my experience with Edward, and as Lisa said, he is president of the World Diamond Council, twice elected. Right? And elected versus appointed is a very different thing in my world. It shows confidence, it shows trust. It means the majority of in the industry trusted his leadership. And I can talk to you about my experience with Edward. I've grown up in this industry since I was 20 years old. And Edward showed me leadership. He showed me inclusion. He showed me how important it is to listen, to understand, and to remain calm through the tough and the exciting times. He keeps his cool. And he also showed me that a man can have a better shoe collection than me. Through all of that, this is a gentleman that will sometimes, he will start his speeches by saying, I'm going to upset half this room, but don't worry, I'm not loyal. Tomorrow I'll upset the other half, because he says the truth. And he says the truth, and he follows truly what he believes in. And that courage and inclusion is something that's quite unique. So I really congratulate you, Edward. Thank you for being so inclusive. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for introducing me to your wonderful daughter, Lita, and your son, Mike, and your wife, Katie. It's been an awesome experience, and I'm looking forward to what you've got to show us next.
No, it's really difficult to top this. Yeah. Honestly, between Lita and between Feriel, I'm talking about my dearest friend here. I've got my Dutch daughter. Wow. If anybody, and I mean this from the heart, and there was no question about it, deserves this award, it is Edward. His contributions are just far too vast to the list. But I will say, if you listen to everybody speak today, it's what is Edward about? Fair and balanced for everyone. He's always been like that. He is the definition of a family man. He's the definition of a team player. And he's certainly the definition of a friend. And Edward, your contributions, and we all know it, from IDMA days to today, WDC, to everything that you get involved in, you do it the right way. And it's never 99.999%. It's always 100%. And I, from the bottom of my heart, with all the love, Bud, congratulations.
Thank you.
Edward, I will keep it short, but on behalf of the Responsible Jury Council, we want to congratulate you. Aside from everything that's said, I think you're a very authentic leader. You're very honest, but also, a wonderful diplomat. We talked about it, but at the same time, very persistent, and you get things to move. So, we are very grateful, because also thanks to you, and thanks to, my strong leadership of my chair, David Bouffard, we also came together to a partnership between RJC and WDC. And I think, Shamiso, this is really a critical milestone, because this is also going to bring a movement, to even do much better. So I think that's really important for the industry as a whole. And finally, I also wanted to say something, because I think you're a great leader, because you looked at business continuity now, bringing that to your daughter and to your son. And that's modern leadership. This is for the next generation. So I congratulate you, because you empower people. And that's what we need. We need leaders in this industry that empower people and communities. Congratulations, Edward.
Thank you, Iris.
That was a great insight, Iris. And by the way, we've already talked about the whole idea of succession and how important that is as a topic to discuss. And we are going to be on it. So I got the memo. Would anyone else like to speak?
It's David, just to, again, thank you, Lisa, for putting this together. And certainly quite a privilege and an honor to be here with Edward, and especially this team. We collaborate so closely on one thing, really, which I like to call the continuous improvement in the integrity of the global jewelry supply chain. And a person like Edward at the helm is inspiration for us all, sets the bar high, like Feriel says. It keeps us all challenged and moving forward. And for us, whether it's Signet or whether it's RJC, I think we have, seen over the years, certainly for me, this last decade with Edward, what real leadership looks like. So congratulations, Edward. And Lisa, thank you for organizing. It's a privilege to be with everybody here this afternoon.
Thank you, David. Thank you all. And let me finish with the following. Now I'm going to have dinner with Lita's mother, my wife, for 51 years. And I'm trying to convince her that half of what you have all said is true.
Well, I'd be happy to come in on WhatsApp and and attest to it in my own voice, should that be wished at some point.
I think she knows. I think she knows.
Thank you.
I'm sure she does. I
Yeah.
think everybody does, but nonetheless, it's always important to say what is real, what is true, and what is now, and not to wait.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are. Shamiso, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. That's for all of you. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon. No doubt, but we will.
Congratulations,
Take care.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Lisa, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
for those of you who are still with us, this is we will be offering programs every month. And we will hold a conference next year, and please look to us for some other surprises. One thing about COVID is we were challenged to do that which we didn't envision. And happily for me, our team was able to do it. And we hope to be challenged and to come through for you again. We thank you for being with us. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to spend the midday of these past 3 days with you. And we hope you've been inspired and galvanized. Onward. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.